This is an exceptionally rare and special collection of locomotives produced by Hornby in 2013. The Great Gathering celebrates the last 6 remaining A4 class locomotives brought together in York at the National Railway Museum as a celebration of their preservation and their legacy in steam. And I thought there was no more apt opportunity to share with you this incredible collection of locomotives than for reaching my 1,000 subscribers milestone. This is a milestone I didn't think I would ever get to be honest with you. I started this journey in model railroading and YouTube about 6 months ago with no expectations of where it would go. It was just an experiment and to share my love of the hobby and show you my very green experience of getting into model railways. But as time has gone on, the sort of traction has picked up. You guys have commented and liked and shared and enjoyed, and I'm just quite overwhelmed by just the amount of love and kindness that you have all shown me. And I just want to say thank you very much. I know for many people, 1,000 subscribers is not a very big milestone, but for me, it certainly is, and I am deeply grateful. And I just thought I'd do something a little bit different and special and share with you this incredible collection today. The Great Gathering is comprised of 6 of the remaining A4s in preservation today: Mallard, Bittern, Dominion of Canada, Union of South Africa, Sir Nigel Gresley, and Dwight D. Eisenhower. 2 of these locomotives were brought across from North America to celebrate this very special event, and it has been marked here so beautifully by Hornby in this incredibly special collection, which obviously not only comes with the locomotives, but this beautiful display case nameplate, and of course a certificate to go along with them. There's a little bit of sort of tension around this collection, however, as shortly after this, Hornby actually produced a Great Goodbye collection, which sort of somewhat diminishes the special nature of this collection, in my opinion. Furthermore, they've produced another set of the Great Goodbye in 00 version, and I think that kind of detracts a little bit from what makes this collection so special. Sure, this is a numbered special edition, which Hornby seem to do quite a few of, but the fact that they've produced further versions of this under a different name, I think is a little bit cheeky, to be honest with you, because it takes away from the sort of rarity factor of this. This collection goes for about, I suppose, about £1,800 at this point. And sort of in comparison, if you were to collect the sort of 00 set, which is obviously all die-cast boilers, you're probably looking at close to £2,000. So it's the price of a decent car, this collection. And I've not made this a purchase. Don't worry, I'm not that irresponsible. Fortunately, I've been kindly gifted this by a friend to sort of review. So very much thank you to Rinka. This is actually on sale and available to purchase if you would like to do so. You're looking at £1,600 for the set. But it's incredibly special, super rare. I think I've seen one ever in my entire life in person. And I think there are maybe 3 or 4 in South Africa in total, which is very special. And in doing this video, I've actually had to be super, super cautious because not only do I not have enough 8-pin DCC decoders, but I've also decided that I would run 3 of the locomotives, not all 6 of them, simply because I would be too scared to damage any of these locomotives. And the entire video has taken quite a long time to film, just because I've had to sort of move 2 decoders between 2 locomotives at a time. And that's been a very, very tedious and careful process. I don't want to damage this collection at all. And with the owner's blessing, I've actually been able to do that and get some recordings. And it's been very, very special. These are actually brand new. They have not been run at all. They have come straight out of their boxes into the display case and never actually hit the track. So it's quite a special moment to be able to run Union of South Africa, Sir Nigel Gresley, and Dominion of Canada. I chose not to run Bitter and Mallard or Dwight D. Eisenhower because you've probably seen quite a few of those locomotives running already. I thought to rather run the more unique ones, and especially Union of South Africa. I mean, yeah, why not? But I think what I want to do is take a closer look at the locomotives. I'll give you a short little bit of history on each of them, and we'll take a closer look at the collection altogether. On July 3rd, 1938, Mallard shattered the world speed record for steam-powered trains, clocking in at an astounding 126 miles an hour. However, Sir Nigel Gresley, the locomotive's designer, disputed this achievement, suggesting that the velocity could only have been sustained for a brief stretch. Nonetheless, he acknowledged that Mallard had undisputably surpassed the previous German speed record of 124.5 miles an hour. The crew selected for Mallard's record-breaking endeavour included the daring driver Joseph Duddington, renowned for his calculated risks, and fireman Thomas Bray. Today, Mallard stands as the sole surviving A4 locomotive adorned in its original LNER livery. Constructed in 1937 at Doncaster Works under the name Buzzard, this locomotive was christened Dominion of Canada in June of the same year. Withdrawn from service at Darlington Shed on May 29, 1965, it faced the prospect of being sold for scrap that July. Forgotten and neglected for several months, it found a new lease of life with cosmetic restoration at Crew Works before being shipped to Canada. Gifted to the Canadian Railroad Historical Association by British Rail in May 1966, Dominion of Canada returned to Britain recently, meticulously restored to its pre-war elegance, adorned in garter blue livery. Fitted with a Canadian whistle and bell, this locomotive made history by ringing its bell all the way from London to York on one memorable occasion. Initially stationed at Heaton and Newcastle, Bittern served the iconic Flying Scotsman route between King's Cross and Newcastle. Early in its service, Bittern suffered damage from a collision, necessitating a comprehensive overhaul at Doncaster from January 3rd to 4th, 1938. During wartime, Bittern traded its distinctive garter blue paint for a utilitarian black. tasked with hauling extended passenger trains and later heavy freight and coal trains. Biturn's operational tenure concluded on September 3, 1966. Now, after crucial repairs to restore its mainline standards, Bittern boasts its original tender, albeit having undergone 14 boiler replacements, a record among A4 locomotives. Originally numbered 4496 and christened Golden Shuttle, this locomotive reflected Yorkshire's woolen industry when it rolled out of the Doncaster Works in 1937. After World War II, it was rebranded Dwight D. Eisenhower and renumbered 8 on November 23, 1946, though Eisenhower's intended attendance at an official unveiling never came to fruition. Cosmetically restored at Doncaster Works in 1963, it embarked on a transatlantic journey the following spring, arriving at New York Harbor on May 11, 1964. Since then, it has found a home at the National Railroad Museum in Green Bay, Wisconsin, USA, traveling over 1.4 million miles in mainline service. Its return to Britain marks a historical milestone, marking its first journey back to its birthplace. Commissioned by the LNER in 1937, Sir Nigel Gresley emerged as the 100th Gresley Pacific locomotive. Originally intended to be named Bittern, a suggestion proposed for another locomotive, a railway enthusiast from the Railway Correspondence and Travel Society recognized the significance of 4498 being the 100th Gresley Pacific, and proposed naming it after its esteemed designer. So Nigel Gresley set the post-war steam record of 112 miles an hour on May 23, 1959, commemorated by a plaque affixed to the locomotive. During this record-setting run, the esteemed driver Bill Hoole, known for his willingness to push locomotives to their limits, manned the footplate. Bill Hoole believed that without stringent safety regulations, Mallard's record would have easily been surpassed. Rescued from the brink of oblivion in 1966, Sir Nigel Gresley now resides at the North Yorkshire Moors Railway, having carried the Olympic flame in 2012. Formerly designated Osprey, the Union of South Africa bore nameplates reflecting the political climate of the 1980s and early 1990s in South Africa. This locomotive holds the distinction of accumulating the highest mileage within its class. A Springbok plaque, a donation from a Bloemfontein newspaper proprietor on April 12, 1954, adorns the locomotive's left side. Solely adorned with this emblem, the Union of South Africa was stationed at Haymarket Shed in Edinburgh from its inception until May 20, 1962, when it was transferred to Aberdeen. One of the 5 locomotives built in 1937 for the Coronation Express service, the Union of South Africa facilitated swift travel between London and Edinburgh, completing the journey in a mere 6 hours. In 1964, it bid a poignant farewell as the last A4 to pull service train from King's Cross Station, its resonating whistle echoing through the platforms. There's no doubt I would absolutely love to own a collection like this. This is a really, really special thing, and I think purely for the sake of display, Hornby have done a really good job just with the box and how it all sort of comes together beautifully. If you could light it up a little bit, I think it would look exceptional on your wall. I'm sure a couple of you who actually do have this collection probably just display it. I would be hesitant to run this almost every day. It's such a special collection of locomotives. But it does bear the fact that I would be a little bit concerned about Hornby's sort of direction with the remaining 6 A4s and what they've done with it so far. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier, we had the Great Gathering. Then shortly after, they did the Great Goodbye. Then they did a second run of the Great Goodbye only a couple years ago. And I think it diminishes the special factor. And I think that's part of a larger sort of collector's edition debate that is sort of worth exploring, I guess. Is it worth reproducing things? Because it certainly takes away from something else's value. This is was supposed to be a once-off, and I think that the guys who paid the money for this and picked it up probably felt a little bit shortchanged by Hornby's sort of reproduction of this special run. Obviously, they gave it a different name, different boxes, and the 00 versions are obviously die-cast, which I would say, in many regards, is probably the better version of this entire collection overall. Now, I don't want to take away from what this is. I just think that if you had the option, surely you would go with die-cast boilers and bodies. Overall, I think that would probably be in your benefit. I think the 00 versions of these go for about £320 at this point, which is a fair bit of money. And if you're to add all that up together, again, you're paying a very, very steep price for a collection of 6 A4s. I think if you're an A4 fanatic, this is probably something you want to own. I really like the A4s. I think they're beautiful locomotives, but they're not the ones that have always sort of captured my heart personally. But I can absolutely appreciate the fact that all of these are here and in very special mint condition. The detailing alone on these is absolutely exquisite. This is probably some of Hornby's finest work, in my opinion, from what I've seen anyways. Again, I'm very new to the hobby, but Hornby do steam really well. Their mechanisms on steam locomotives are second to none, probably the best in British 00, in my opinion and experience anyways. But yeah, this is a special one. I won't be purchasing this. I certainly don't have the money for it. And I just want to say again, thanks to Rinka for letting me sort of review this. And thanks to you for watching. Again, 1,000 subscribers is no mean feat. So that means a hell of a lot to me, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you do, please drop me a thumbs up. That would be much appreciated. As a note, I sort of plan to do this as a two-part thing, the 1,000 subscriber special. My first option was to do a sort of Q&A, and then the second part was actually to do the Great Gathering, but I've kind of reversed that order because I kind of wanted to get the message out to you regarding the Q&A. I'm not sure if a Q&A is even a viable thing. If you'd like to know anything about me, that might be a degree of hubris on my part, thinking that you would actually be interested in knowing anything about me or what I like in the hobby. I know you're probably here for the reviews and the content. It's not up to me to sort of share anything else with you or that you want to hear anything else, but my plan was to get my partner Annie to come and ask your questions on your behalf, and I would answer them and we kind of do a back and forth. And also just a nice way to introduce Annie to you guys. She's been fantastically supportive of this hobby of mine. I think she thinks it's a little bit weird, to be honest with you, but she's given me nothing but support as I've been sort of spending quite a bit of money. So again, I just want to encourage you to ask some questions. If I don't get enough questions, I'm not putting that on you. If I don't get enough questions, I'll probably give the Q&A a skip. But if you do have something that you'd like to ask me and you'd like me to sort of like discuss with Annie, I'd love that. That would be really, really cool. And please feel free to drop those in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this. It's really, really is a special thing to be able to look at this collection and run some of these for the first time. So again, thanks so much to Rinka. It means a hell of a lot. This is an exceptionally special collection of locomotives. If you did enjoy the video, drop me a thumbs up. That would be great. If you're watching this for the first time, please consider subscribing. That would be really cool as we head now towards the next goal, which is 2,000 subscribers. And as we go, it should be an interesting journey. I look forward to taking it with you all. Thank you so much. It means a hell of a lot to me. As always, keep your engines fired and stay on track. All the best.